They called the black cleaning lady to dance as a joke. But when she started, everyone was. Before we begin, I want to know where you're watching from. Leave a comment telling me your city or country. I'd love to know where you're from. And if you love emotional love stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any updates, and you'll be helping the channel grow and bring more and more content that touches your heart. Let's go on this emotional journey together. Los Angeles, a city marked by its opulence and inequality. In the wealthy and exclusive neighborhoods, dreams always seem within reach, while in the outskirts, like Ava Martinez's neighborhood, reality is much harsher. Ava, a 29-year-old black woman, works as a cleaning lady at one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. Her spotless white uniform hides the invisible scars she carries every day. She is a naturally beautiful woman with straight, voluminous hair and intense brown eyes. But her confidence is often overshadowed by the constant discrimination she faces from both hotel guests and her own co-workers. The hotel hallway is long, the sound of her duster echoing in near solitude as Ava cleans one of the suites. She glances toward the distance where a party is happening in the main hall. The lavish atmosphere, with golden lights and sophisticated guests, is a world completely apart from her own. She dreams of a day when her hard work will be recognized, when people will see her not as an invisible worker, but as someone of value. But every day, her work is limited to humiliating and invisible tasks to those who pass through the hotel. In one of these lonely moments, Ava hears laughter and distant conversation coming from the event room. Inside, a group of guests talks about the cleaning lady working at that moment. She tries to ignore it, but a male voice rises above the rest. "Did you see the cleaning lady? I bet she can't even dance, but hey, maybe we can make a joke out of her." Laughter, a murmur of applause. Ava feels a lump in her throat, but tries not to react. She can't lose control. She can't let herself appear weak. But fate seems to have different plans for her. Minutes later, the hotel manager, an imposing woman named Linda, approaches Ava with a fake smile. "Ava, come here, please. We have a little performance planned for tonight's party. They asked for you." Her words are direct, no sugarcoating, but crystal clear. She has no choice. "It's just for a moment. Nothing big. They want to see you dance. It'll be fun." Ava, surprised and humiliated, tries to protest. I don't dance, Ms. Linda. I'm here to clean, not to have fun." But Linda only gives her a bitter smile, pressing further. "There's no way to refuse, Ava. They already asked. It's just a joke to them, something entertaining." The air turns heavy with silent pressure. Ava feels the weight of humiliation. She can't say no. Feeling her body tense, she walks to the dance floor with hesitant but steady steps. When she enters the room, all eyes turn to her. The silence is immediate. The guests, all well-dressed and laughing among themselves, wait expectantly for the cleaning lady's performance. She looks around, feeling small, as if she's nothing more than a piece of entertainment. "Come on, honey, show us what you've got," one of the men shouts, while a few others nearby laugh out loud. Ava feels the shame settling in, but something inside her starts to stir. Something deep, something she's always kept buried and can no longer contain. Suddenly, something ignites within her, an energy she didn't even know she had. Ava, instead of giving in to the shame, starts to move. The music begins to play, and without even thinking, she starts to dance. But not the way they expected. Her movements are full of elegance and strength. She lets go, no longer seeking others' approval, but expressing her own dignity, her own strength. Every step is like a silent declaration of resistance. The guests fall silent, speechless. They weren't expecting this. Ava's dance is not a joke. She transforms it into a powerful display of her identity, her soul. She dances with grace and courage, unconcerned with judgmental eyes. With each movement, she feels more alive, more true to herself. "Oh my God, did you see that?" says a woman in a low voice, visibly surprised. She has more talent than anyone here." The murmurs grow in the room. People begin to look at Ava with respect, not mockery, but silent admiration. The dance that started as a joke becomes a powerful moment of personal affirmation. When the music finally stops, Ava is breathless, but her posture is proud. She looks around and sees that what was once ridicule has turned into applause and astonished gazes. She doesn't care about the applause. What matters is that for the first time, she feels seen. She, Ava Martinez, is no longer an invisible cleaning lady. Ava turns and, without saying a word, begins to walk toward the door. Her eyes are shining and her heart is pounding. She can't believe what she just did. But what she realizes is that there's no going back. The fire that lit inside her can't be extinguished. She's tired of being invisible. Something inside her has changed. And from that moment on, Ava knew her life would never be the same. The rain pounded heavily against the hotel windows, creating a melancholic sound. Ava, alone in a hallway, held the outfit she would wear for the party, her heart heavy. The weight of the night approached like an avalanche, and the memory of the forced dance was still in her mind. When the manager called her again to the stage, it wasn't an order anymore. It was a sentence. She didn't want to be the center of attention, but there was something inside her that burned. Can I really be myself here, or will I keep hiding? She looked at herself in the mirror, and for the first time felt the woman she wanted to be merging with the one she had always been. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Never let anyone tell you that you can't be who you are. You don't need permission to shine." Ava took a deep breath, put on the dress, and in front of the mirror, smiled at the woman she saw. She knew this was her chance to show who she really was, to prove she wouldn't be the hotel's joke anymore. When she stepped onto the stage, she felt the eyes waiting for her to fail. The music started softly, but Ava's rhythm was unpredictable. She hesitated, but then something inside her broke free. When she closed her eyes, she was no longer the invisible cleaning lady. She was a powerful woman, ready to dance her truth. Every movement expressed her fight for respect. The room fell silent. The guests, initially ready to laugh, were mesmerized. Ava's eyes sparkled with strength, and she danced to make herself heard. The prejudice she faced was transformed into beauty. "This is incredible," a woman whispered. "She has something none of us have," another added. Elliot, among the guests, watched with new admiration. Something deep inside him was awakened. An instant connection with Ava, a woman who, in silence, said more than words ever could. The silence was broken by applause, hesitant at first, but soon warm and loud. Ava stood in the center, feeling the energy of the moment. She was no longer being mocked. Now, she was a woman to be admired, but she knew this moment was only the beginning of her fight. Elliot, standing silently, was still absorbing the intensity of the dance. When his eyes met Ava's, something inside him wanted to know her better. Ava, with a subtle smile, left the stage, no longer needing others' validation. She had something more valuable: self-respect. She felt something had changed, that things would never be the same again. Elliot knew that dance would be the beginning of a transformation, not only for Ava, but for him too. After the dance, Ava quickly left the stage, her heart racing. She wanted to escape everyone's gaze, to return to the anonymity that had always been her comfort zone. But before she could leave, a receptionist approached her with a cell phone in hand. "Ava, you need to see this," the young woman said, surprised. Ava looked at the phone screen and saw the recording of her dance being quickly shared on social media. Soon, comments began to appear, praise mixed with criticism. Some called her amazing, others mocked her. "Diva, she's perfect," wrote one woman. "Who does she think she is? A cleaning lady acting ridiculous," appeared in another comment. Ava couldn't keep reading. What was supposed to be a moment of empowerment now exposed her to harsh judgment. She was no longer hidden, and the world was watching, and that came with a price. Feeling the weight of the criticism, Ava had a thought. "I've survived so many things. This won't be my downfall." For the first time, the pain of being ignored became fuel. Instead of hiding, she decided not to let others dim her light. She wanted to be a voice, not just for herself, but for all women who lived like her. That night, Ava posted on her social media, "It's not about what others expect of you. It's about what you expect of yourself. I dance to be free." She hit post and felt a deep relief. She had freed herself from something much bigger than a dance. The pain she carried was now part of her transformation. Meanwhile, Elliot was in his office, inside his luxurious apartment, reviewing company numbers when he saw the video of Ava. He watched, fascinated, not just by the dance, but by her authenticity. It was something raw, real, and visceral, and he felt something inside him stir, something he hadn't even known was blocked. "Who is she?" Elliot murmured, leaning closer to the screen. He clicked on other videos and started researching Ava. What he discovered touched him deeply. She didn't just dance, she overcame immense struggles with courage. He thought, "I have everything, yet I feel empty." Ava, who has almost nothing, is more alive than I am. Elliot also knew that behind Ava's strength, there was deep pain. He didn't fully understand it, but he felt he needed to. He decided to look for her, not as the rich, powerful man, but as someone who finally wanted to be more than what the world expected him to be. At home, Ava was watching the video go viral on social media. Thousands of views and comments were popping up. She felt proud, but also afraid. By putting her truth into the world, she was becoming vulnerable, and that scared her. But the fear of going back was even greater. She no longer wanted to live under other people's expectations. She knew that more than her dance, her own freedom was on the line. Ava's phone buzzed, breaking the silence of the night. When she saw Elliot's name, she read the message. "Dinner invitation. I'd like to get to know you better." She knew this moment would be decisive. On one hand, the thought of being with him scared her. He came from a world of privilege, so different from hers. But at the same time, something inside her stirred. She couldn't keep hiding from the fear of rejection. And what if he saw her as a joke, like everyone else? She looked at herself in the mirror, observing the woman she had become. With a sigh, she pressed confirm on her phone and replied, "I accept." The date took place at an upscale restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, and Ava dressed simply, wanting to impress him with her essence. When she arrived, she felt out of place, with her modest dress and loose hair, standing out among designer suits and glamorous gowns. Elliot was already at the table and stood up as soon as he saw her. "Ava, I'm glad you said yes," he said softly. She gave a shy smile and sat down, feeling the invisible distance between them. It wasn't just the luxurious setting, but the differences in their lives. Still, something about Elliot seemed genuine, like he truly wanted to understand who she was. The waiter brought the menu, and Ava hesitated, uncertain. Everything seemed too expensive. Elliot noticed her hesitation and tried to ease the tension. "Order whatever you like. Nothing on this menu surprises me more than what I want to understand about you," Surprised by his kindness, Ava remained silent, scanning the menu. Elliot then asked a hesitant question. Ava, why did you dance that way at the party? It wasn't just a dance. It was a statement. Ava, with a lump in her throat, replied, It wasn't just about dancing. I was being mocked, made into a joke. But when I started dancing, something shifted. I wasn't the cleaning lady anymore. I was there saying, I am someone, and you're going to see me. Elliot watched her, moved. I get that. I live in a world where appearances matter more than how we feel. Even with everything, I feel alone, empty. Sometimes I feel invisible too, just playing a role. Ava looked at him, and for a moment, they connected. Alone. I know what that feels like. I'm seen as the cleaning lady, the invisible one. But you have no idea how heavy it is to live for others and not for yourself. Elliot leaned in, looking at her with intensity. I've never known what it's like to be free, Ava. I don't have anyone who truly understands me, no one but myself. But you made me realize there's something more important than power, something that makes me feel like I can finally be me. Ava stayed silent, absorbing his words. She knew he came from a different world, but there was a connection between them, something more real than anything she had ever experienced. I understand what you mean, she finally said, breaking the silence. But you have power. I have nothing, and that makes me feel weak, like I'll never be seen. You're wrong, Elliot said firmly. You're already seen, more than you realize, Ava. Not by others, but by yourself. And that's what really matters. Ava felt a wave of emotion, but tried to stay composed. That dinner, that conversation, was more than just an exchange of words. It was a rare connection, a soul-to-soul exchange, and something inside her felt this could change her life. As they said goodbye, Elliot looked into her eyes. I know we don't have all the answers, but I want to keep this conversation going. I want to learn more about you. Ava hesitated, then smiled. Me too, but I can't promise it'll be easy. I know, he replied with a soft smile. But sometimes the struggle is worth it. The relationship between Ava and Elliot, which had started with such intensity, was now becoming more complex. What had been a quiet, growing friendship was now marked by insecurities and doubts. Ava, though she tried to stay in control, felt something opening inside her, but also the fear of fully letting go. She feared Elliot only saw her as an interesting story and would walk away once the novelty wore off. Elliot, on the other hand, began to realize that his attraction to Ava went beyond her appearance. She wasn't like other women who'd be impressed by his wealth. Ava had her own glow, an inner strength that made him question his own empty life. With her, he could be himself. On one of their outings, they walked through a park, and Elliot asked, Have you ever thought about a different future? Something beyond what the world expects from you? Ava paused, thoughtful. I've always wanted to be truly seen, but I thought that was a distant dream. The world keeps telling me I'm not enough. Elliot, touching her hand, said, You shouldn't have to live like that. I've never known what it's like not to be seen. You're more than everything the world tries to tell you. She looked at him, filled with conflicting emotions. You live in a world where everything's easy. I don't know if this is love or just curiosity. If it's just curiosity, I don't want to be fooled. Elliot, sensing she wanted something real, said, I'm not used to being rejected, but with you, I don't want to be the wrong man. I see you, Ava, the strong, brave woman that you are. Ava, eyes full of pain, replied, You think I'm that woman? I don't even know what I am anymore, Elliot. I don't know if I can believe in myself, let alone in you. The silence between them was heavy, but a quiet tension held them together. Though they came from different worlds, something inexplicable connected them. Elliot took Ava's hand, and she felt an unexpected warmth. "I see you, Ava, and if you let me, I'll show you what you deserve," he said. Ava hesitated, still afraid to surrender, but the wall between them was beginning to fall. "I'm still scared, Elliot. Scared of losing myself, of being just another story to you." Elliot, with sincere eyes, replied, "You're not a story. You're my truth." The connection between them was becoming inevitable, but Ava still didn't know what to do with it. What they felt was magical, but also terrifying. Ava and Elliot were growing further apart every day. The relationship, which had started with such intensity, was now marked by a growing distance. The media, which once seemed like a blessing to Ava, had become a nightmare. The videos of her dance, which had made her visible, were now being used against her. The criticism and cruel comments weighed heavily on her shoulders, leaving her vulnerable and lost. "She's taking advantage of the visibility. Just another one trying to ride the coattails of the rich." These words echoed in her mind, making Ava feel judged for simply being herself. Meanwhile, Elliot, who had genuinely gotten close to her, started pulling away, feeling like his presence only made things worse for Ava. He wanted to protect her, but the only way he could think to do that was by stepping back. He began to question whether, by getting close to her, he had exposed her to pain she didn't deserve. One rainy afternoon, they met at a quiet cafe, far from curious eyes. Ava sat silently, stirring her spoon slowly. Elliot, sensing the growing distance between them, didn't know what to say. The silence between them was heavier than any words. "Ava, I don't know how to deal with this," Elliot said, his voice shaky. "I see what you're going through, and I feel responsible. You don't deserve this. I should have done more to protect you from it." She looked at him, feeling the weight of his words. "Elliot, I don't need your protection. I'm not weak. I'm not a victim waiting for a prince to save me. You don't understand. I never asked to be seen this way, and now I'm being attacked just for being myself." Elliot remained silent, guilt written all over his face. "You're right," he said, his voice breaking. "I got involved without knowing the consequences. All I wanted was to get to know you, but now everything's going wrong." Ava took a deep breath, feeling suffocated by both her words and his. "I can't do this alone. I can't take this pressure anymore. Each day is harder, and I don't know if I can keep going like this." The tension between them kept rising. What had once brought them together now felt like a growing void. Their friendship, which had become something more, was now on the edge of collapse. "Ava, please, I don't know what to do. I don't want to leave you alone, but I don't know how to help you. You deserve more than I can give," Elliot pleaded, desperate. Ava, with pain and anger mixed, replied, "I don't even know what I deserve anymore, Elliot. All I know is I can't keep living under everyone's watchful eye. I can't keep being who they expect me to be." They fell silent, their unspoken words hanging in the air. Their relationship was being eaten away by outside pressure and inner doubts. Distance was becoming the only answer to their fears. Ava slowly stood up, picked up her bag, and looked at Elliot one last time. "I need some time alone, to figure out what to do with all of this." Elliot sat silently, helpless, watching her walk out of the cafe. He didn't know if he'd ever find his way back to her. The distance now felt infinite. Ava walked through the streets of Los Angeles, her steps heavy and her mind in turmoil. Every look, every cruel comment on social media felt like a sharp blade. She couldn't take it anymore. The world had become a stage where she was forced to expose herself and become something she didn't want to be. What had started as an act of courage now felt like a prison. When Elliot tried to reach out again, she couldn't hold herself together. "I'm not who I was before, Elliot," she said, her voice breaking. I don't even know who I am anymore. Everyone's watching me, expecting something. I can't do this anymore." A tear slid down her face, but she wiped it quickly. "I need time. I need space. I can't keep being what the world expects. I need to just be me." Elliot looked at her in silence, feeling her pain but not knowing how to help. Every time he tried, it seemed to make things worse. "I don't want to hurt you anymore, Ava. Maybe it's better this way. You need time for yourself." Ava looked at him, confused, her eyes full of tears. "I can't be who you want me to be. Maybe I'm not enough for you. I can't keep trying to be enough." The silence between them was more painful than any words spoken. Their separation felt inevitable, and in some way it made sense. But it hurt more than either of them expected. "I understand, Ava," Elliot said, his voice barely audible. "I don't know what to do, but I can't keep making you suffer. I'm just as lost as you are. I only know I'm afraid of losing you forever." She felt the weight of his words, but the pain in her chest only grew. "Sometimes things have to fall apart for us to find ourselves. Maybe we both need to get lost to find each other in the future." Elliot took a step back, accepting the situation. He knew she was right. They needed time, space. But at the same time, he felt like his soul was breaking as she walked away. "I won't forget you, Ava. But for now, maybe it's best we go our separate ways. I hope you find the peace you're looking for." Elliot turned and walked away, leaving Ava alone with the weight of what had just happened. She stood there, staring into nothing, not knowing where to go. The feeling of loss surrounded her. The dance that had brought them together, the friendship, was now broken. But despite the pain, Ava knew that this distance was necessary. She needed to rebuild herself and find the woman she had lost. She didn't know what the future held, but she felt that the only way forward was to go alone, in search of her own truth. Life around her was falling apart, but the loss she felt wasn't just external. She had lost her trust in herself. Even so, she knew she was beginning to break free from the chains that had bound her. The separation still weighed on Ava, but instead of destroying her, it forced her to face the emptiness inside and discover who she truly was, without depending on anyone's approval. She realized her journey didn't have to be about validation, but about self-recognition. The visibility that once trapped her now became a powerful tool. Ava used her platform to fight against racial discrimination and for Black women's empowerment, launching a movement. Her message, like the video of her dance, spread quickly, bringing support, but also resistance. Still, Ava was ready to fight. Now, she had a cause, a mission. "I'm not a joke," she said in one of her first speeches. "I'm a strong woman, with dreams, with a story, and no one will make me hide ever again." Her message resonated with thousands of women who saw themselves in her. Ava's voice became a powerful presence in the social landscape. Meanwhile, Elliot was going through his own transformation. After the breakup, he felt lost, but soon realized that what was missing from his life wasn't power. It was empathy and real connection. He began using his wealth to support Ava's causes, becoming an unexpected ally. During a trip to Africa, Elliot experienced poverty and discrimination firsthand, which gave him a new perspective on the world. He returned with a renewed sense of what truly mattered. "I lived a life surrounded by things that didn't matter," he said, reflecting on his new initiatives. "Now, I want to change that." Ava's fight showed me that we can't keep ignoring what really matters: people. The reunion between Ava and Elliot happened unexpectedly, but it was necessary. After months without contact, Elliot showed up at a charity event where Ava was speaking. When their eyes met, silence fell. What used to be a battle of egos now became a quiet understanding of how much they had changed. Elliot approached after the event, and the two looked at each other without saying a word. Time had changed them both, and now, more than ever, what they were looking for wasn't just love, but respect and the chance to build something real. "Ava, I've learned so much since we separated," Elliot said sincerely. "I was lost, stuck in an empty life. You made me see that there's something bigger than power and money. There's the fight for a more just world." Ava, still carrying the pain of the past, but now with new clarity, replied, "Elliot, it's not about what you can offer me. I found what I needed inside myself. I've learned to fight for my truth, but maybe, together, we can fight for something bigger, for a future where no one has to hide who they are." The connection between them was different now. There was no pressure or need for validation. They were there for each other, not out of need, but out of choice. Changed, they were ready to move forward with deeper understanding and mutual respect. As they walked away, their hands brushed softly. There were no words, but the touch said it all. Their journey wasn't over, but now, side by side, they were ready to face whatever came next. The wind blew gently through the streets of Los Angeles, but inside Ava, the silence was deep. She stood in front of her apartment, lost in the city. Time had passed, and though she still felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, something within her had changed. She had finally found inner peace, something she never knew she needed. Her journey had brought her to a place of self-discovery, where she now knew who she was and what she deserved. Suddenly, Elliot appeared at the corner. She saw him from a distance, standing still, looking at her, with an expression that mixed familiarity and something new. His eyes, once full of uncertainty, now reflected a quiet determination, as if he had come to understand something essential. Ava felt her heart race. She didn't want to believe it, but she knew he was there for a real reason, something deeper than appearance or status. He was there because he felt that he loved her. "Elliot," Ava said, her voice trembling, "what are you doing here?" Elliot looked into her eyes, and for the first time, his words carried a rare sincerity. "I knew, from the moment I saw you dancing, that you had something special, and you helped me understand what really matters. Your presence made me realize that my life until then was all about power and control. After we separated, I realized I loved you, not because you're strong or admired by everyone, but because you showed me the real value of life. You made me want to be a better person." Ava stayed silent, taking in his words. Something inside her still resisted, the fear of giving herself again, but something stronger was beginning to rise, a new emotion. "I don't know if I can give you what you're hoping for, Elliot," she said, heart tight. "I've been through so much. The last time I believed, I lost myself. I don't need you to feel whole. I love myself now. I've respected myself in a way I never did before. I don't know if that's what you're expecting from me." Elliot stayed quiet, feeling the weight of her words. He knew she was right. She was now a whole woman, someone who didn't need anyone to define her. "I don't want you to be who I expect, Ava. I want you to be who you truly are. I love you because you showed me the true strength of love. And more than that, you made me want to fight for something I never imagined. I love you because you are you." Ava felt a wave of emotions. She knew what he was saying was real. He wasn't there to demand anything, but to offer something genuine, something she needed to learn to accept. True love. "I don't know if we're ready for all this, Elliot," Ava said softly. "But I know love can't be forced. It has to be real without rushing. And maybe we both need time to be whole on our own. Only then, together, will we be strong." Elliot stepped forward, the distance between them shrinking. He looked at her with emotion. "I don't want to push you into anything, Ava. I just want to be by your side, support you, love you the way you deserve." "We've changed, but if you let me, I'll show you what it means to build love based on respect." Ava finally let him come closer. She didn't know where the future would take them, but she knew that by her side stood someone who respected her for who she truly was. They embraced, and in that embrace, the feeling of loss and fear melted away, making space for something new, something that could now blossom with sincerity and no insecurities. Ava and Elliot were in a brightly lit room, surrounded by smiling faces. It was the launch of their foundation, a project that represented everything they had fought for. The foundation aimed to support women from marginalized social classes, focusing on the inclusion of Black women in the arts. Ava's words, in her first speech, echoed with power. This foundation isn't just about opportunity. It's about creating a space of respect where women, regardless of color or class, can be heard and celebrated. She looked at Elliot beside her, smiling with fulfillment. Together, they had created something that showed the world there was a path to inclusion and equality. "Together, we're not just another foundation," Elliot said. "We're proof that when you fight for someone else's dignity, you rewrite the rules of the game. We all have the power to make change." The audience applauded, but Ava and Elliot were more connected to each other, with a love that blossomed from admiration and the struggle that united them. They were ready to face the world, now as a partnership that wanted to change the course of history. After the event, walking to the car, Elliot held Ava's hand tenderly. "Ava, we did it. What you've done is the biggest change I've ever seen." Ava smiled calmly. "We did it, Elliot. It's not about me or you. It's about everyone who needs a chance. And now I see that we've changed." The next day, as they reviewed the foundation's plans, Elliot said, "Ava, before you, I thought success was just about reaching the top. But now I see it's about the impact you make, about changing other people's lives." Ava looked at him deeply, no longer uncertain. "You don't love me because I'm the cleaning lady who became something. You love me because you see my truth, and I love you because by my side you found what you were always looking for." Elliot smiled gently. "What I found, Ava, was what I always wanted but never knew. You. This life. This truth." What had begun as an individual journey of growth for both of them had now become something deeper. They had come together for a greater purpose, not just for love, but for the fight for dignity and a more just future. Ava knew she had reached her destination, not just as a woman, but as a human being. She knew that love and the fight for dignity could transform the world. Looking at Elliot, she knew that together they could create a better future. The real victory wasn't in the success of the foundation, but in the transformation they had both undergone by allowing themselves to be who they truly were, strong, whole, and ready to fight for a better world. And so ends our journey with Ava and Elliot. They faced obstacles, discovered themselves, loved each other, and together changed the world around them. A story of triumph, of the fight for dignity, and above all, a love that knows no barriers. What did you think of this story? Leave your opinion in the comments, and if you liked it, rate it from 0 to 10. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to catch more stories like this one. And before you go, get ready, because I've got another touching story coming up that will move your heart even more. Stay tuned.